diminishing daylight of Lexington. It's the season opener for the Kentucky Wildcats and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. It's all a part of the SEC on ESPN. We are at Commonwealth Stadium in the Bluegrass State. It's been called the greatest opening weekend in the history of college football, but so far it has not gone according to plan for the SEC. I'm Anish Shroff. He's former Longhorn Ahmad Brooks. Howdy, Ahmad. Boy, for the SEC, this season has not begun the way they thought it would.
Well, you look at it, Tennessee, you've got Arkansas and A&M all had games to the wire, but then LSU, Mississippi State, and Mizzou all lose. But this is why we love college football, and this is why this weekend was so exciting, because we knew we had some compelling matchups and some competitive matchups.
Now for Kentucky and Mark Stoops, this is his fourth season. He knows he's got to start getting this team wins and getting this team to the postseason.
Well, this is the most talented roster he's had in the 4 years he's been here. And I think this is about building confidence in himself as a head coach, since it's his first time in this role. But I also think it's about making sure these players believe in the game plan. He's got some talented players to work with now.
And he's got a quarterback in Drew Barker who started the final 2 games of last year, but now this is his team.
Yeah, where he's made the most progress has been off the field, and I think that's where he needed to grow the most. Now if he can transition that to the football field, convert on critical third downs, be a good leader for his team, the sky is the limit for this young man.
Southern Miss won 9 games last year, but they've got a new head coach in Jay Hopson. He comes over from Alcorn State. He takes over for Todd Monken, who left to become the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And what Hopson inherits, Ahmad, is one of the best quarterbacks in college football, even though he's not a household name.
Oh, I love watching this kid play. He's so accurate. And one thing he does extremely well is he throws a catchable ball for his wide receivers. Mullins, one of the top quarterbacks in the nation a season ago in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. Look for him to get his team an early start today.
Kentucky won the toss. The Wildcats will receive. Stephen Broccoli will kick it off for Southern Miss. And the game's afoot. Saheem King from his own end zone, he'll run it out. Across the 15, and King darts across the 20 to the 23-yard line, and we get our first look at Drew Barker, the redshirt sophomore, at one time the '1 player coming out of Kentucky in high school.
I think he is the best quarterback recruit out of high school that they've had since Tim Couch. When you look at him, he's got all the specs, 6'3", 225, and he is a Kentucky native. This young man is trying to carry a program on his back. The one thing he must guard today is not putting too much pressure on himself. Just go out, this is football like it is in your backyard, and have the time of your life.
To throw on first down, and it's incomplete, intended for the tight end, C.J. Conrad. Devontae Foster broke it up. Of note, Kentucky's top wide receiver, Dorian Baker, was a game-time decision with a hamstring injury. He has not started the game out on the field. 2nd and 10. This is Jojo Kemp, and he's spun down by Dylan Bradley for a loss of 2. This is an undersized Southern Miss front, but boy, they're very quick.
They use it to their advantage, and this is probably the best prospect on the team, number 94, Dylan Bradley. Watch him there in the middle of the screen. Excellent swim move there on number 69, Ramsey Myers, as he got in the backfield. But did you see those tracking abilities, the ability to track a player faster than him? Dylan Bradley starting the game off the right way.
Interesting front there by Southern Miss. Nobody close to the line of scrimmage as the play clock is under 10. This is a defense that will throw you some confusing looks. Barker checks down, and not much room. It was Bradley again on the stop. And it'll be 4th down. Jojo Kemp with a catch for 4 yards. And the punting unit will come on. This has been a bit of a mystery. Who comes on to punt for Kentucky? Brian Kershey and Grant McInnes are competing to be the starting punter, and it's McInnes who will take the first punt with Alanzay Staggers back deep to receive. The kick is blocked. It rolls toward the 45, across the 45-yard line. And Southern Miss off to a great start. The one they call Paw Paw, Xavier Thigpen, got his Jaguar paw on that football.
One of the best sounds in football is the thud of a block kick or a punt. Just a special play. And, you know, when you start off with that type of energy, you can see here that Southern Miss clearly has the momentum early on in this ballgame.
Well, for a Kentucky team looking to get back to the postseason this year, it's been a while. 2009 was the last time it happened. Not a strong start, 3 and out, a blocked kick, and the Golden Eagles begin in plus territory. First down, it's Ito Smith coming off an 1,100-yard season. Picks up 5. It'll bring up 2nd and 5. Nick Mullins, the quarterback, in Ahmad last season. Simply put, he had the greatest passing season in the history of Southern Miss football.
Very impressive.
He was the Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. Smith again running right side, has some green. And a first down for Ito Smith before he's tripped up by Blake McLean. A gain of 11. This is a guy who averaged better than 6.5 yards per carry last year. And he was one of 2,000-yard rushers on a prolific offense a season ago.
Dynamic playmaker, and he reminds me a lot the way they use him to Marshall Faulk. I'll delve into that a little bit later.
On the ground again, Smith looking for running room. And he is upended shy of the 30-yard line by one of Kentucky's outstanding corners, Derek Beatty. Ahmad, what are your keys tonight?
Offensively, it is for Southern Miss, it's to win the explosive plays. One of the most explosive offensive units a season ago. And if you're Kentucky, you're breaking in some new and inexperienced defensive linemen. They've got to hold up against the run.
Empty look here on 2nd down. Design quarterback run, and Mullins scampers for a gain of 4. He's to the 27-yard line. He's not really much of a runner, but running quarterbacks gave Kentucky a lot of trouble a season ago.
This is a big 3rd down, and this is where Mullins likes to shine. They give him a lot of flexibility at the line of scrimmage to get his team into the right play. You see him now communicating to his mates. And here is where, if you're a quarterback, you're judged on what you do on money downs like this.
There's the pressure, check down, Isaiah Jones inside the 20, first down and more, and Jones finally taken down at the 11, a gain of 17 yards. What makes Nick Mullins so good, he has a lightning quick release.
Yep, and also awareness. He saw the pressure there. He knew he had to move around enough to be able to make that throw. Found a young man, Isaiah Jones, who they really like here, and many are hopeful that he can replace the other number 98, Mike Thomas, who was here a season ago, a very dynamic playmaker on the edges for him.
On the ground, and Ito Smith right into the teeth of that Kentucky defense. The offensive coordinator for Southern Miss, a name familiar to Kentucky fans, Shannon Dawson. He was Kentucky's offensive coordinator a season ago, only there for 1 season. He was fired, and he went to Southern Miss, and it's a bit of a chess match because Kentucky knows what Dawson does, and Dawson knows what Kentucky does.
It's tough business, and that's what he and, of course, Mark Stoops said when we had an opportunity to talk to him, and if you're Shannon Dawson, you just got to go out here and do what you think you do best.
Mullins split wide. Ito Smith on the direct snap. Got a block from his tight end, Washington, and Smith rumbles in for the score.
This young man is dynamic, and you heard me earlier in the ball game. One of the keys for this Kentucky defense was going to be to defend the run. You watch it here. Ito Smith with an excellent job of letting his blockers get out in front of him to buy him time, and he just was patient with that run. And this is one of the reasons why I say this young man has so many unique qualities. He can run inside. He's got the quickness and speed to run the stretch and to run outside of the tackles. And then, last but not least, he had 44 catches a season ago, which tells me that this young man can also get involved with the passing attack. And the coaches swear that this guy has the best hands on the team.
Parker Schoenfield, the sophomore from Aledo, Texas, on for the point after. And the kick is good. Kentucky on its first possession went 3 and out. Southern Miss blocked the punt, took over just inside midfield. 7 plays later, it's the judge, Ito Smith, for 6. For all the chatter about how Nick Mullins would match up against this elite Kentucky secondary, on Southern Miss's opening drive, it was the run game that produced.
Yeah, he's such a skilled player, and he has so many ways that he can affect the ball game. And if you're Kentucky's defense, you can see that they are trying to establish the run. And I don't know the plan defensively for the Wildcats, but I do know this. It'll be a long day for them if they can't stop the run with Ito Smith, because we know that when Nick Mullins gets going, he's one of those streaky players that can be very effective with the pass as well.
King, the deep man for Kentucky. Broccoli to kick it off. Short kick. King from the 4. To the outside. Now reverses direction. Cuts it back one more time. King's got the 20. And finally brought down at the 24-yard line. 3rd offensive possession for Kentucky. Boom Williams in the backfield. And Williams gets the call. Picks up about 3, 2nd and 7. Tough offseason for Williams. He had offseason elbow surgery, and then his younger sister suddenly died. And on top of all that, he's had a bit of a rough adjustment to the new demands of this offense. On 2nd and 7, Barker finds Jeff Baudette. Baudette's got great speed. Open sesame! 72 yards, Barker to Baudette, and Kentucky's on the board.
Wow, that was a quick strike there. Caught the defense off guard. And just the tunnel screen developed right behind. And you see these offensive linemen get out. Great block there to get out in front of it. And this is the last guy you want to be looking at. The back of his jersey is Jeff Baudette, one of the fastest players on this team, if not the fastest. And those are the types of design plays you want to get a guy like that in space where he can utilize that vertical speed.
The extra point is good. And we've got a tie game.
Yeah, it's the Baudette and Barker hooking up here on a tunnel screen. And my man turns on the Jets. Pay dirt. Barker playing big.
His first score of the season, a 72-yard pass from Drew Barker to Jeff Baudette, and that was mostly yards after catch. Curtis Michael from the goal line. And Michael taken down well shy of the 20-yard line. The tight end, Julian Allen, in the slot, top of your screen. Against a 4-man twist. Underneath to Ito Smith. A gain of about 4 for Smith, who had 49 catches last year and is very dangerous as a receiver out of the backfield. Mullins' pass is tipped. And it falls to the ground. Courtney Miggins, who's the best D lineman for Kentucky, got his hand on it.
Yeah, he's 6'5", 285, and every defensive line coach around the country preaches this. If you can't get to the quarterback, throw up those big paws, knock a ball down. Those are game changers. And if you're Nick Mullins, you're 6'1". If he wants to play at the next level, what he has to do is prove to people at the next level, NFL scouts in particular, that he can find passing windows at his height. That time there, Miggins doing an excellent job of knocking the ball down.
There's the pressure, and Mullins engulfed. Josh Allen, the sophomore linebacker, got to him first.
Yeah, I want you to watch him here. Second from the left, that's him right here as he comes through. Excellent job. He just would not be denied. Excellent job of getting underneath his pads, and that prevents the blocker from being able to control you. And the lower you get, especially when taking on offensive linemen, the more difficult it is for them to block you.
So Tyler Sarrazin, a four-year starter, now punts from his end zone. And a fair catch signal by Charles Walker. Kentucky will start at the 42-yard line. Little shovel pass. Here's Williams across midfield into Southern Miss territory. A gain of 16.
Yeah, as we talk about those facilities, one thing when you're a student athlete, you've got limited time. Your schedule is you're always trying to manage your time. And the one thing I loved is the proximity everything is. There's no wasted time for these athletes, and they're able to perform at a high level.
Barker escapes trouble, completes to Garrett Johnson. Johnson with a pass to the end zone, and he's in.
Well, you didn't know when it was going to happen, but Drew Barker has been handed the keys to this program. Started the last two games of the season a year ago, and he's not known for buying time with his feet at 6'3" and 225 pounds, but the way that he extended this play is what allowed Garrett Johnson to be able to get open for him to find him, put the ball on target, and then the wide receiver did the rest of the work.
The extra point by Austin McGinnis is good. Kentucky has landed a couple of haymakers. First it was Jeff Baudette going 72 yards. Now Barker to Johnson, a 43-yard score. Michael from the 8-yard line. He's got the 20. Taken down at the 23. A big hit. Holmes in motion. Four-man rush. Mullins pumps downfield, and it's intercepted with one hand. J.D. Harmon, his 6th career pick. Put an asterisk next to that one. Wow.
Oh my. Now that may be SportsCenter top 10. Anytime you have a one-handed interception, J.D. Harmon pulling out the bag of tricks. He did a great job of getting on the inside pocket. I want you to watch him here at the top right of your screen. He's in the perfect location to defend this route ran by DJ Thompson. He's got one hand on the wide receiver, great hand and eye coordination. What a fantastic finish to what was already excellent coverage. J.D. Harmon got the people out of the stands with that play.
You're a former DB. He got you out of your shoes.
Hey, I'm almost ready to go hit somebody. You better watch out, Anish.
You were doing some walkthroughs with Mark Stoops yesterday. I was worried you might do something to your Achilles. Low snap. Barker. He'll take another shot downfield. Richardson wide open. Taven Richardson down to the 32-yard line. A gain of 33.
Blown coverage there in the back end for a very experienced Golden Eagle defense, and Barker there, if he'd have let it out in front, that would have been his third passing touchdown of the day.
Off the turnover, Kentucky going quickly. On third down, flag on the play. Johnson hauled it in. If the catch stands, it'll be enough for a first.
Personal foul, face mask,
Oh, wow.
defense number 94. Penalty is half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
That was on number 94, Dylan Bradley, perhaps maybe the best defensive player for the Southern Miss team. We just talked about how talented he is and very physical there, but once he gets, you see there, and I don't know if that was intentional. It looked like maybe his hand might have gotten caught in Tote's face mask, and the officials making the right call there.
Watch out for 6'6" K'Wan Ross, bottom of your screen, wearing 19. Ross is wide open in the end zone, and he hauls it in for the score.
Yeah, Nish, that was a great call. And I can say this much about this young man. He's coming off of injury. Everybody has been waiting to see him reach his full potential. When we asked Mark Stoops and Eddie Grand yesterday about some of the players that have really surprised them during camp, their eyes lit up. And that is why he's a 6'6" target, and he's got a ton of talent to back that up. That time they're doing a nice job of finding space and making a catch in traffic to score his first touchdown of the year.
A junior college transfer. Eddie Grand, the offensive coordinator, told us he had sort of been going through camp as a nondescript guy. They weren't sure how much they could count on him during the season. And then one day the light bulb went off, and he has been a monster the second half of fall camp. They told us we would see him. He's 6'6". He's a huge target, and I don't know how Southern Miss let him get that wide open, that close to the end zone. Drew Barker, by the way, 8 out of 12, 228 yards with 25 seconds to go in the first quarter.
That's impressive. And, you know, and every position player is trying to compete against the guy on the other sideline. If you're a quarterback, you're trying to play better than the other quarterback. And right now, Drew Barker is performing at a level that I don't think many people expected, that he would be outperforming Mullins at this point in the ballgame.
Michael from the 10. He's out to the 25-yard line. That's where Southern Miss will start. Staggers in motion. Mullins hands it off to Ito Smith. Got a couple of good blocks. And Smith scampers for a gain of 9, 2nd and 1. This is a Southern Miss offense that averaged more than 500 yards per game last season. Southern Miss scored first after a blocked punt. The Golden Eagles punched it in. Ito Smith, one of their stars. And then Kentucky landed a series of haymakers. First, Jeff Baudette. Then Garrett Johnson. And then the JUCO transfer, K'Wan Ross. 21-7, Big Blue Nation. Start of the second quarter here in Lexington. Jay Hopson, the first-year head coach for Southern Miss. The Golden Eagles won 9 games a season ago. And then their head coach, Todd Monken, left for the NFL. He became the Bucs offensive coordinator. Hopson hired away from Alcorn State, a terrific 4-year run there, which culminated in back-to-back SWAC titles. It's tough to win at a place like Alcorn. You're in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi. You've got to navigate the Natchez Trace, which is a harrowing drive if you've never done it before. And at a school like that, you don't often have all the resources, all the bells and whistles, but he made the most of it. He won there. And he comes back to Hattiesburg, where he's had 2 previous stints, so he's familiar with Southern Miss, their history, their program, and the recruiting turf. Off play action. Mullins looking downfield, and that was nearly tipped, and it's intercepted. It was tipped and picked. Blake McLean, the 3rd interception by Kentucky in this first half.
After putting so many plays on tape with accuracy here, I believe that the pressure is starting to get to Mullins. He had busy feet on that particular drive, and he did not hit the right location. A lot of that has to do with the pressure Kentucky is putting on him right now, but give credit to the secondary. We call it tip drill. The idea is to try to tip the ball up and allow somebody to come right underneath it. Blake McLean was in the right location. But watch the feet here of Mullins. You see those busy feet. And you can tell that the pressure is now starting to get inside of his head. And when that happens for a quarterback, as a coach, you've got to walk over to the sideline. If you're Shannon Dawson, sit him down, say, big fella, we're fine. We're still within striking distance of coming back to win this ball game.
Ahmad, Southern Miss lost its top 2 receivers from last season. From what you're watching, are guys getting open?
Well, I mean, he's been a guy that can throw into tight coverage, so I don't think that is necessarily the problem.
Screen to Garrett Johnson. He will gain about a yard, so 2nd and 14.
Ball was thrown in the wrong location. Ideally, you want to throw that out in front of the wide receiver. Barker there missing his target.
Barker 10 out of 18, 234 yards. He's cooled off a little bit in the 2nd quarter.
Check with me play. You see this going throughout offenses all across the country. They line up and force the defense to give them a look so they can now choose a play.
Barker downfield, receiver open, it's caught. Touchdown Kentucky. Garrett Johnson with his 2nd TD grab of the game. This one for 53 yards.
And that was Barker's best ball of the night, if you ask me. He hit the wide receiver in stride. Stood tall in the pocket with confidence, swag, moxie. As he's pouring it on for his 4th touchdown pass of the night. And totally right now out-dueling and outplaying the quarterback on the opposite sideline, Nick Mullins.
Barker's been the best player on the field so far,
yes,
no question. 4 TD passes, 3 of them have gone at least 40 yards. (28-7) Kentucky. Barker to Garrett Johnson. That's juice. Today they call him Juice. And the wide receivers as a unit are the Juice Boys. And the Juice Boys have been loose, and they've been making plays all night for Drew Barker.
Yeah, Johnson led this team last year in reception yards and 277 passing yards on the day. Get this, 137 of those are after the catch. That's what you call yak. Wide receivers out here today making plays for their quarterback and their teams. They're taking the simple plays and making them spectacular.
Brendan Fitzgerald in the studio will tell us what's coming up at halftime right after this kick. Curtis Michael darts across the 20. That's DJ Thompson. And with the loss of both Mike Thomas and Casey Martin, 2 record-setting receivers a year ago, Thompson becomes the alpha go-to guy in the Southern Miss receiving game. And there you see the finishes to the last 3 seasons. Really, 2013 was a disaster start to finish, but 2014, 2015, Kentucky had its chances. And you know, sometimes it's a play here and a play there, and it's been that way for Kentucky. 1 play in each of the last 2 seasons. If that goes their way, they're in a bowl game. Nice run by Payne, who does not look to be suffering from any ill effects after not playing at all last year.
And if you're Southern Miss, listen, you come back here, you cut the lead in half, you score a touchdown here, you're right back in this ball game. This is one of the quickest striking offenses in all of the country a season ago. They've got playmakers, and they've got guys that can punch it in the end zone. You've just got to stay settled, wait for your time, and make your play when it comes to you.
4-man pressure, Mullins downfield, receiver wide open, it staggers, bumped out of bounds by Beatty after a big gain.
Yeah, and there was some confusion there on the back end for Kentucky. Now the defensive backs looking at each other, pointing fingers, and you'll watch this corner on the top of your screen here. He just gets caught. It appears that he doesn't follow with the wide receiver, number 15, Marcus McWilson. When you have that wheel route, you've got to turn and run with it.
Ito Smith to the 15, a gain of 5, 2nd and 5, as we come up on 4 minutes to play in this opening half. Kentucky has scored 28 unanswered, 3 passing touchdowns of 40+ yards for Drew Barker. Back to Smith. 3rd down and 3 coming up for Southern Miss. They're 4 for 7 so far on 3rd down.
Start thinking about the ways that you could convert here. Anytime you've got Ito Smith in the backfield, he's an option running the football, but also getting involved in the quick passing game, something out of the backfield. As they go with a set here, they bring in a tight end, 3 wide receiver set, something we haven't seen a lot of early on from Southern Miss.
They've had trouble handling Kentucky's edge pressure. Play clock down to 7. Southern Miss out of timeouts. Mullins moves the pocket on the run. Throws end zone, incomplete, 4th down.
He took a shot right to the chest. Tried to sit in there to throw this football. Looking for somebody downfield, and boy, did he take a shot there from Courtney Love. But this is what you call a coverage sack if they would have gotten to him. But here, just excellent coverage across the board. He had a window there, but unfortunately wasn't able to get it.
Parker Schoenfield will come on for the field goal. We thought Stephen Broccoli would be attempting the field goals. We were told before the game Schoenfield would handle the place-kicking duties. 2 for 5 a season ago. High snap, kick is up, and Schoenfield puts it through. And that ends some of the bleeding. Southern Miss had given up 28 unanswered prior to that field goal. This is Jojo Kent. Burst of speed. He's across the 30 and drags a tackler to the 37. It is to Boone Williams with a cutback. Williams has some room, and he's off to the races before being tripped up. Oh, that was a touchdown-saving tackle. Denarius Antoine saved a touchdown for Southern Miss.
Yeah, and that almost looked like the opening play from a season ago where he broke it right down the middle of the field. And great block there he picked up from his all-conference center, John Toth. And we talked about Eddie Grand talking about that one cut. As he got in behind him, the burst, the acceleration to get to the second level is something that I'm sure Coach Eddie Grand will be very proud of.
Back to Boone. And he's inside the 25-yard line, tackled by Yancey, a gain of 4. Eddie Grand has a track record, too. He's not just telling Boone Williams, this is how you've got to play. Grand coached Rudy Johnson, Deuce McAllister, Cadillac Williams, and Ronnie Brown at Auburn.
Impressive.
Brandon Jacobs.
Wow.
Williams up the middle. He's pushing forward for a gain of 4.
2-minute offense, critical and crucial downs are what quarterbacks are judged on, but also how you operate in 2 minutes. Because you are essentially the coach on the field, whether it's calling plays, lining up your team, working with efficiency. Barker here will be tested in his first 2 minutes of the season.
Jojo Kemp in the backfield. Kentucky has all 3 timeouts, so they can be a little patient in the red zone. Quarterback draw. Barker, he's got the first down. Has some running room inside the 10 and stumbles out of bounds at the 6-yard line. 1st and goal for the Wildcats.
I'm going to give credit to the play call there. That's not the play you're expecting. You're not expecting on 3rd down a designed quarterback draw with Drew Barker. But what we might be seeing here emerge after having 2 or 3 critical runs is that Barker's showing that he's a lot more athletic than I think people tend to give him credit for. He's known as being more of a pocket passer, but a tremendous and huge 3rd down conversion.
The 6'6" Ross lined up at the top of your screen. Red zone target. Jojo Kemp instead, straight ahead. Another touchdown for Kentucky. And what a tour de force offensively in this opening half.
That was very methodical, and they operated that series and drive like a machine. Everything they got into, they were able to execute with excellence, and when you can do that at any level of football, it increases your chances of scoring.
The point after is good by Miggins. You got to be careful. He's got a kicker named Austin Miggins, a punter named Grant McInnes.
Yeah, this just goes right up the middle behind that meat. Nick Haynes, John Toth, Ramsey Myers. As they win the line of scrimmage there, you see the pushback in the crease that opened up for Jojo Kemp as he churns those legs and gets into the end zone. A year ago when we had a game here, we asked Mark Stoops what it was going to take to get over that hump, and he said, we need to establish depth. It felt like they're starting to build that, especially with the last two recruiting classes, and now you're starting to pay off because they have a wave of players they can throw at you, whether it albeit playmakers or even when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, guys who are hungry to get to the football.
Curtis Michael from the end zone. Running to the outside. And a drag down from behind at the 16-yard line. Southern Miss will have the ball with 48 seconds to go and no timeouts. Instead, it's a run play. That's T-Man, Tyreon Holmes for a gain of 5. He gets out of bounds, and that'll stop the clock with 42 seconds to go. Holmes had a terrific freshman season in 2013, 53 receptions. Hurt all of 2014 and just one catch last year. They will just keep this on the ground. That's Ito Smith to the 29-yard line. It'll momentarily stop the clock, and it does not appear Southern Miss is going to take any chances, but let's see if that changes now that they've picked up a first down. Owens to the air. Over the middle, wide open Jones. Isaiah Jones to the house. 71 yards, and Southern Miss gets a much-needed touchdown.
They lulled this Wildcats defense to sleep with the run, and they waited for the opportunity to go deep. This was just brilliant play calling here, and they found what they were looking for. The safety with horrible eyes coming from number 27, Mike Edwards. He got locked in on the intermediate route and didn't have an opportunity to cover back deep. And anytime that happens, it is the cardinal sin for safeties.
PAT by Schoenfield is good. Isaiah Jones with a 71-yard TD grab. That takes us to the end of half number 1. Drew Barker, this is his team, and Kentucky might have itself a quarterback. He's accounted for more than 300 yards of total offense in this first half, 287 through the air, 4 touchdowns, 3 of those TD passes, 43 yards or more.
Yeah, he's been spectacular.
The Kentucky defense had 3 picks on the Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. Barker did the rest with the help of his wideouts. Halftime now. We go to the studio and to Brendan. This is the SEC on ESPN. Just a perfect September evening for football. Here in the horse capital of the world in Kentucky, unleashed its thoroughbreds in the opening half. The Wildcats have a 35-17 lead. They're on pace for more than 770 yards of total offense. And Ishraf Ahmad Brooks, and if you're a Kentucky fan, you're thinking, we may have our quarterback of the present and the future. Drew Barker was terrific.
He's been spectacular. You know, and coming into this ball game, I thought Mullins was going to be the more accurate quarterback, but it's been him that's been finding that pinpoint accuracy and placement and the command he has.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really brought that maturity from off the field onto the field, and it's clear to see.
This is a Kentucky team that has not been to the postseason since 2009. It's Mark Stoops' 4th season. He's turned to Drew Barker at quarterback, and Barker himself 315 yards of total offense in that first half, 4 touchdown passes, 3 of which were for 40-plus yards. Southern Miss, this was a pretty good team a season ago, one of the best offensive teams in the country. 9 wins. They got to a bowl game after just 4 wins in the previous 3 seasons. But the Golden Eagles have their work cut out for them here in half number 2. They did get a late score in that first half, so some momentum to take into halftime. The Golden Eagles will receive the kick. This is Curtis Michael. And Michael wrestled down at the 16-yard line. Southern Miss has had some great quarterbacks in its history. Brett Favre, most notably. Austin Davis set all the records. If Nick Mullins stays healthy, he has a chance to rewrite the record book before he's done. He put together the greatest passing season in school history last year, but he looked less than ordinary against this Kentucky defense in the first half.
He's got to step up here, and I know that's what was going on through his head in the locker room at halftime. He realizes that this team will go as Mullins goes this year. He's got to come out and perform much better in the second half.
On first down, screen pass. It's DJ Thompson, and he is stood up by Josh Allen and Harmon. Forward progress gives him 8, 2nd and 2.
That's one way to get a quarterback comfortable, the quick passing game. Throw it out to your wide receivers, pick up some good positive yardage, force the secondary and the defense for Kentucky to tackle in open space. One of the most difficult things in all of football to do.
Eagles keep it on the ground. Ito Smith picks up 4. He's closing in on 100 yards. He's up to 91, but it's 3rd down and 6. Southern Miss with the ball at the 44-yard line. Now press coverage all the way across. This is an outstanding Kentucky secondary.
Matchup here at the bottom. Not to cut you off, they've been attacking the boundary side with one-on-one. As you see the safety now up top here rolling over to give the look for the quarterback so that he doesn't pick.
Back off at the top of your screen. Mullins looking toward the boundary. He wants Thompson covered by Harmon, and a flag at the end of the play. Harmon had 2 picks.
Oh, man, I don't know about this one.
Pass interference. Defense, number 11. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I'll be frank with you. I am a defensive back. And I'll say if I were coaching him, I don't know if I'd coach him any different. The bottom line is watch how they're both tussling. He turns to the ball. I'm a little confused here. Maybe it was that last push when he moved his head back to the wide receiver. If there was one thing I'd coach him up on, I'd tell him to keep his head on the ball and not turn back into the wide receiver. Maybe that's where the call came from.
So another first down off the penalty. Mullins under pressure, dumps it off to Smith.
Oh.
Ito Smith with a nice juke move, a pick of 8.
Yeah, he relies on that jump cut and the ability to change directions often in his game.
What do we call that in PlayStation? Right trigger, left trigger?
Yeah, it was just nasty. Mullins here feeling the pressure there coming from Love. The outlet pass is checked down to Ito Smith with the nasty cut.
The tight end Allen split wide. Smith gets the call. And he picks up a first down for the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, much different rhythm right now in this offense and the way they're operating.
Jay Hobson knows if his team can come away with 7 points on this drive, it changes the complexion of this ball game. Once again, Smith. He fights forward to the 24-yard line, a gain of 3. And Ito Smith, for the 9th time in his career, has crossed the century mark in rushing yards.
Yeah, I know he's a little undersized at 5'9", 195 pounds. But if you're looking at the next level, you're an NFL scout, the ways in which you can use this young man, I think at the next level he'd be a mighty fine returner. Maybe you can use him in the return game. But he is a special talent that is showing tonight why he's one of the top players in their conference.
Allen motions toward the field. Boundary throw, incomplete. Good coverage that time by Harmon. It'll bring up a 3rd and 7. And Ahmad, to your point about Ito Smith, what's going to be different for him this year? Last year, Southern Miss had Jalen Richard, and in Richard and Smith, Southern Miss had 2,000-yard backs. Ito is now the bell cow in 2016.
Yeah, they had 2 bad boys. I had their bowl game against Washington, and you know this. Last year when you lined up against these guys, you're going to have to stop both of them, as Mullins here with a big 3rd down as they've got trips to the field.
Mullins to the air. He's got Thompson. And Southern Miss moves the chains, a key 3rd down conversion for the Golden Eagles.
Speaking of Westry, that's why they like to put him in the ball game to the boundary side, and he just entered the ball game. Harmon, who's done a good job tonight, but you are in man-to-man coverage with no middle of the field help. You've got to prevent him from crossing your face and getting inside, but nice job by the Golden Eagles offense to convert.
Westry back into the game on the ground. Ito Smith pushes ahead to the 6-yard line. And it's 2nd and 4.
Yeah, it just feels different, you know, with this Southern Miss offense, the efficiency, the way they're picking them up and putting them down right now.
Ito Smith maneuvers for some room, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Golden Eagles. They'll have it at about the 1.5-yard line.
And they're not slowing down. Mullins trying to get the team gathered.
Smith in the backfield. Jones split to the top of your screen. Mullins will try to sneak it in, and he gets the push from his line. Nick Mullins brings Southern Miss a little closer.
That was exactly what they needed coming out after half, to get the juice flowing and to get their confidence restored. After that first drive in the ball game, the Kentucky defense really took it to them, but they had command over what they were trying to do. I thought Shannon Dawson throughout that series just now called the right plays, and it resulted in a touchdown.
Sean Fields' point after is good. An impressive opening salvo here in the 2nd half for Southern Miss. An 11-play, 84-yard drive, capped by a quarterback sneak for a TD. Southern Miss offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson was in the same role a season ago with Kentucky. He was fired after 1 season. He's been saying all along, this is just another game. It's hard to believe, but that's the line. He's sticking to it. The one thing I'll give him credit for, he was very honest with us when we asked him about why it didn't work at Kentucky. And he said, I knew halfway through the season, Mark Stoops knew halfway through the season, it just wasn't a good fit philosophically. And it was probably a good thing we both moved on. No hard feelings as there's an onside kick. Did it go 10 yards before Southern Miss touched it?
You should have been pointing it that way.
That doesn't matter. Kentucky recovered it.
I don't blame them here. If you're Hobson, you came out after half. You're trying to give your team some type of hope. And I thought the kick here was good enough for him to recover it. But what an effort there from the players from Kentucky. Only 2 guys with the awareness there to make a play.
Now Marcus Walker was the one who dove on it. So Kentucky will have the ball near midfield. 10:33 to go in quarter number 3. There's Garrett Johnson. Juice. Breaks a tackle at the 40. Cuts it back inside the 30. And juices down inside the 20-yard line, a gain of 32. He's had a monster game, over 100 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns.
Sometimes teams will include their quick passing game in their rushing attack. That was brilliant there, swift and smooth, as he was really putting the moves on there, Johnson was.
On the ground here on first down, it's Boone Williams, who is brought down by the ankles by Dylan Bradley and C.J. Perry.
Yeah, just a screen. Great blocking on the edges from the wide receivers, blocking for their mate. And the cutback here, just trying to find some space and room to use that track speed that he has. One of the faster guys on this Kentucky roster.
Barker under pressure, trying to get away from Bradley. The ball comes out. Southern Miss able to pick it up. Xavier Thigpen got it, and it's a turnover, and the Golden Eagles get the ball back.
His first big mistake of the night. And when adversity strikes like this, we'll want to see how he responds. But watch here, the pressure right in his face. Typically, when you're rolling right into pressure with one of their best defensive players, the coach is going to say, just throw that ball away. Let's live to fight another down. But once again, we're talking about a sophomore quarterback. For the first time in his career, the undisputed starter on this team. And that was just a great job from Dylan Bradley, one of the best defensive linemen in his conference. And Jay Hopson now has something to smile about as his Golden Eagles offense is back out on the field.
Southern Miss scored the first 7 points of this game. Kentucky countered with 28 in a row. The Golden Eagles got a long touchdown before halftime, scored on their opening drive of the third quarter, and to now get it back after a turnover. Smith, one cut across midfield. And he's to the 49-yard line, a gain of 6. On the stop, the Nebraska transfer Courtney Love, who despite sitting out all of last year has emerged as a leader on this Kentucky defense.
One of the most neat stories that we heard was after a loss last year, this guy wasn't even playing, and he met the team as they got off the plane. That's the type of committed player he is to this university.
Smith to the outside. First down and more. Pushed out of bounds by Walker, but he picks up 10 more. And we've got a flag.
Personal foul, defense, horse collar, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, I played in an era where a guy like Roy Williams, the safety from Oklahoma, used to do this all the time. I think it's one of the more dangerous plays in all of football, and I'm really glad that this rule was instated. It's hard to judge. You know, when you're trying to grab cloth, you know, it's hard not to know that you're grabbing the back of that horse collar, but I like the call there. It's definitely for the player's safety.
This is George Payne. And he's inside the 20 as Southern Miss gets into the red zone. 6 more. This ground game has been effective all night for the Golden Eagles.
And right now, the pace of the game is really forcing you to gauge your conditioning levels because you're not having the opportunity to sub out packages, and so they're just putting their foot on the gas.
Payne trying to get away from Love, who slowed him up, and it's third down coming up for Southern Miss. Julian Allen, the tight end, in motion. Wide open in the end zone, he makes the catch, and it's a touchdown for Southern Miss. 20 unanswered, and the momentum is swung to the other side.
If you're Kentucky, you're trying to prevent yourself from going, uh-oh, because I've played in ball games like this where you have a convincing lead, and as we talked about it, Southern Miss is a team that is a quick strike offense. It looked like here they just had a wheel route, and they had a pump and go, which held the corner, which allowed him to get over the top of coverage and make a play there. Julian Allen, the tight end. Nice play call at the right time, which ended up allowing them to score the touchdown.
PAT by Sean Field, good. Kentucky had a 35-10 lead late in the first half, 21 unanswered, as Mullins hooks up with Allen. When I spoke to him last week, he said he learned so much from the 2013 and the 2014 seasons when Southern Miss was a bad football team. And he said, you go through that adversity, you lose, you lose, you lose. That really helped him. It helped his teammates have a 9-win season in 2015. They're looking to build off that. So he said going through that adversity, we never feel we're out of a game because we've been way down before. So you look at a 2-touchdown deficit, a 3-touchdown deficit. Hey, that's nothing compared to going through a 1-win season or a 3-win season.
Very true.
No tomfoolery on this kickoff. Jojo Kent picks it up. Kent looking for the edge as the 25. And out of bounds across the 30 at the 32. Nowhere to go for Boone against that swarming front. And it's 3rd and long now for Kentucky.
Bradley is flexing his muscle in the meat of this defense. And as you see here, the yards by half just completely lopsided and flipped here in the second half in favor of Southern Miss.
Garrett Johnson has been the go-to receiver. He's in the slot, top of your screen. Here's the blitz. Barker under pressure, and he is sacked. Jabari Poole, who had a couple of sacks last year, the senior, makes it 4th and long for Kentucky, and Southern Miss will get the ball back with a chance to take the lead.
Great series. You come out here after half, you get a turnover. Now you come back and you have a 3-and-out. And the way that the pocket just closed in on Barker, that means that all players on both sides of the ball are containing, forcing him right into the pressure. And that is how they were able to come up with that big sack, as now Kentucky getting ready to punt the ball away to a Southern Miss offense that looks like they're starting to find a rhythm.
Grant McInnes had 1 punt blocked, his first one. He punts this one to Staggers, who makes a fair catch at the 43. Smith split wide. Mullins to the 45, a gain of 3.
I've been really surprised by the design quarterback runs that this man right here, Shannon Dawson, has been calling for Mullins, because that's not necessarily his strength, but he has caught the defense off guard a couple times tonight.
Holmes goes in motion. Up the middle, Smith barrels ahead into Kentucky territory, and he's got a first down to the Wildcat 44, a gain of 10. Mullins to the air, tight window. He's got Robertson. Corey Robertson, a gain of 14 to the 30, despite some tight coverage by Westry.
You're seeing a pattern. You saw it right before half, before they scored in 2 minutes. They ran the football, ran the football, ran the football, and then they pop them with a play. And the accuracy there from Mullins is what we were trying to describe earlier in the game. He put that on the money.
Smith cuts it back, and Courtney Love throws it down at the 27-yard line. On second down, Mullins to the air. Downfield into double coverage, incomplete. He wanted Isaiah Jones. Third down.
As this crowd here at Commonwealth Stadium is off on their feet and trying to make some noise on a big third down.
We saw Edwards go into the tunnel with the trainers. 3rd and 7. Mullins looking for help. Smith on the screen. He's got a first down and running room inside the 10, down to the 6.
And that was pretty. Once again, the multiple ways you can use them. And Ito Smith, he's frustrated with himself right here. He thought he had a touchdown. Mullins doing a good job of leading him into this space. Now they're back on the ball.
Smith trying to spin away, but he can't. Jordan Jones and Love got in the backfield. 2nd and goal. And this is a big test right now for this Kentucky defense. Southern Miss has all the momentum. This Kentucky D has been on the field pretty much this entire 3rd quarter.
You're right. And they're also bringing on some more muscle as Adrian Middleton comes onto the field.
2 tight ends flank Mullins. He gives it to Smith. Up the middle, dragging tacklers, reaching. And he's going to be marked down at the 1-yard line. Well, now one official says touchdown. The field judge says touchdown after one official marked him down at the 1. And Southern Miss, down 35-10, has taken the lead. Take another look. Smith, the feet don't stop churning, and he reaches. Is he down right there?
Yeah,
it's
I think
where
this
the
is going to
ball
get
is
overturned.
when his knee is down.
Hard to tell.
After review, the runner was down at the 3/4 line. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
This is the right call. And to your point about what the SEC is doing right now, look, the more eyes you can get on a play, I believe the less likely you have blown calls. And at this level of football, look, take a chance, make sure it's right. I know it slows down the game. Not always do the fans and coaches like that, but you've got to make the right call. And now that they've gotten it right, a 3rd down coming here with less than a yard to go. Can this Kentucky Wildcats defense bow their bat and prevent these Golden Eagles from scoring a touchdown here?
We saw Nick Mullins run the quarterback sneak. They come out of the eye. They haven't done that, I think, all night. Let's see if Mullins keeps it. They'll hand it off. Smith met in the backfield. The ball came loose. Washington recovered, but it's 4th down.
He got popped. Wow. Watch the pressure coming off of this side. Oh my, the best defensive player according to the coaches on this team, Courtney Miggins.
Southern Miss is going for it. They're going to try to go quickly. Mullins will try to sneak it in. Is he in on the 2nd effort? Waiting for a signal. Touchdown, Southern Miss, and they have taken the lead. Four consecutive possessions that have resulted in a TD for the Golden Eagles.
The element of surprise. Tempo paying off here for Mullins and this offense as they are fully in full effect right now with scoring points, putting pressure on this defense, and finding ways to make plays when it counts most.
A stunning turn of events in Lexington. 28 unanswered by Southern Miss. They've rallied back to take the lead. That Southern Miss bench is fired up. The contingent that made the trip from Hattiesburg to Lexington is rowdy, and the Big Blue Nation awfully quiet. They've seen Kentucky blow a 35-10 lead. 28 unanswered by Southern Miss. This kick goes out of bounds. Kentucky ball at the 35. What a turn of events. While Southern Miss has just been flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. So Kentucky's going to move up 15 yards. And the Wildcats now with prime starting field position at their own 48-yard line. Jojo Kemp in the backfield. Drew Barker, after a big first half, has been quiet so far, as is this offense in half number 2. Barker steps up underneath to Baudette. And the speedy Jeff Baudette is tackled by Elijah Parker, the hard-hitting linebacker, no gain.
Hard hitting, that time there just draped all over one of the more talented and speedsters on this Kentucky team. Great open field tackle.
Downfield on second down. And that ball is intercepted. Trey Collins, in his second career start, has his first career interception.
Great coverage. It's in the hip pocket. If you are ever out at a practice and you're around defensive backs, you will hear them say hip pocket. What you're trying to do is you want to be in this position right here. And really what happened there was Trey Collins just turned into the wide receiver. He got a good beat on the ball, got it at his highest point. And if I'm Kentucky, I'd like to see a better effort out of Richardson. He's 6'3", he's got the height there, the advantage. You've got to go up and try to make a better effort for your quarterback and win that one-on-one matchup.
The Golden Eagles back to work. George Payne to the 18. A gain of 6.
And that is impressive. Last 5 drives have all resulted in points. 4 touchdowns, as we've mentioned, 28 unanswered for the Golden Eagles.
We go to the end of the third quarter. Kentucky scored 28 unanswered in the first half. Southern Miss with a late score in quarter number 2 and 21 more in this third quarter. And the Golden Eagles have a 3-point lead as we go to the fourth. Here's tonight's game track brought to you by Taco Bell. For those of you that may have switched this game off when it was 35-10 Kentucky, welcome back. Southern Miss has come back. They now lead 38-35, 28 unanswered for the Golden Eagles. Drew Barker, a big first half. Kentucky hasn't had the ball much in the second half. And Ito Smith, 200 yards of total offense for the Golden Eagles. Started the fourth quarter with Ahmad Brooks and Ish Schropp. Season opener, part of the greatest opening weekend in college football history. And this has been a fun ride. It's been a roller coaster of a game. Once more to Payne. He's got running room against this tired defense. Payne takes it to the 45 before he's dropped by Walker. 14 more. There's Payne again, breaking tackles to the outside. Shoved out by Westry. 6 more. We told you earlier, Southern Miss had 2,000-yard rushers last year. One of those, Jalen Richard, is gone. But tonight, Ito Smith, 150 yards on the ground, and Payne with 86, closing in on the century mark.
Yeah, I like it. And right now, I think they're sticking with Payne just because this defense is tired. And there's nothing that you want to do more than tackle a big physical back when you're tired. And it wouldn't surprise me if they handed to him again here.
They do. Payne's got a first down. Out of bounds at the 40-yard line of Kentucky. 9 more.
And now they bring in the speedster, Ito Smith, after Payne put in plenty of work.
You played a defense. Tell me what this defense is going through right now. They've been on the field almost the entire second half.
You're frustrated. You're wishing your offense could bail you out and help out here a little bit more and get you a rest.
Back to the ground. Smith taken down by Miggins at the 30. It's a loss of 2, 2nd and 12.
Yeah, tackles for losses like that can really help you, a defense, establish a stance and to say, you know what, we're not going any further. Because you don't want to let Ito Smith get that edge like we've seen him do tonight and really make it difficult on this Kentucky defense.
Four-man rush. Smith out of the backfield. Great tackle in space by Edwards. 3rd and long for Southern Miss.
The best part about that play was his angle. He forced him to the sideline, gave him one go. And you'll see him, just a great angle here. Watch that beautiful tackle in the open field as another big 3rd and long situation coming up for the Golden Eagles.
And with the ball at the 32-yard line, Southern Miss with Sean Field, their kicker, his career-long 33. This could be 4-down territory. Four-man twist. Mullins with time, in traffic, and through the hands of Thompson. He put that on the spot. The receiver's got to catch that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you want to put it. And you're right, 4th down here. And it looks like Southern Miss is keeping their offense out on the field. Got some open space. They ran a crisscross there at the back, which really confused the defensive backs. And that ball hit DJ Thompson right in his mitts. And he wasn't able to come up with the catch.
They'll bring in the field goal unit. Now, something you should know. The holder, Tyler Sarrazin, who's also the punter, has attempted 4 passes, so a fake is not out of the question here. This would be a 50-yarder. The kick is up. And it's good. How about that? Parker Schoenfield from 50.
And had distance on that kick. Wow.
Sean Field just 2 for 5 a season ago. The sophomore with those Lannister locks makes it a 6-point game. Southern Miss picked to win the Conference USA West Division. They won it last year and played in the league title game. They've got a 41-35 lead on Kentucky out of the SEC. Parker Schoenfield will kick it off after booting what was officially ruled a 49-yard field goal to give the Golden Eagles a 6-point lead. Shaheem King out to the 30-yard line. Perry, the middle linebacker, showing blitz. It's a handoff to Boom Williams, looking for running room, and he's to the 35-yard line, a gain of 5.
And to your point of this Kentucky offense sputtering and struggling, they only had 2 plays in the opponent's territory in the second half. Compare that to 26 for Southern Miss.
Parker under pressure, flushed, and he's going to go down. Darian Yancey with the sack. And it's 3rd and Louisville.
Hesitation here. You've got to make decisions, decisive with the football. Now, I'll give him credit. He protected it and took the sack rather than trying to throw it up with a costly interception, but almost an insurmountable 3rd and long situation here.
Edge pressure. Johnson on the tunnel screen. He took one the distance, not that time. Denarius Antoine with the stop, and Kentucky faces a 4th down. In last year's season opener against Louisiana Lafayette, Kentucky had a sizable lead. They saw the Ragin' Cajuns come back, and it was a late drive by the Wildcats that allowed them to pull away. Tonight, Kentucky had a 35-10 lead. They have not scored since. Southern Miss has scored 31 straight. Fair catch signal by Staggers on the McInnes punt. Southern Miss has scored on 6 straight possessions. They have the ball with a 6-point lead in the 4th. Southern Miss entered tonight having lost 13 straight against the SEC. The last win in 2000 against Alabama, a 21-0 shutout. But the Golden Eagles, 7 minutes and change, getting a win against the SEC. That is caught for a 1st down. Staggers. And he's into Wildcat territory before being subdued. And that sideline is fired up.
And why wouldn't you be? Before, yeah, you look at the total yards. Before this series started, Kentucky in the first half had 387 yards compared to 28. And it has been all about the Golden Eagles in the second half. And third downs, conversions like that, when you're on defense, those are so deflating because now you've got to get back up and ready for another set of downs.
George Payne, the battering ram to the 39 of Kentucky. By the end of 6.
I really like his style of running. And when you've got a team on their heels, what a perfect style of player to bring in the game to enforce what you're trying to do, the physicality of the game. Every team across the country preaches physicality, and today he's been the leader for Southern Miss.
Payne to the outside, no room. He's ambushed. Looked like he got out of it for a moment. Still on his feet. Payne finally brought down by Denzel Ware at the 40-yard line. Boy, if Ware doesn't get him by the ankles, Payne might have had quite a bit of running room down that sideline.
Now, that wasn't the best tackling that Kentucky will have all year long, but you've got to give this young man credit. George Payne, I mean, watch here, defender. That's a defensive lineman falling off of him. Breaks another arm tackle and almost cut it loose there. Payne really putting in work here.
Smith goes wide. 4-man pressure. Mullins' pass. There's a flag on the play. It's caught by Thompson. A penalty marker on the play.
That hurts.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. The penalties decline. Result of the play is a first down.
Yeah, and that's on the top corner for this team, Chris Westry. He's going to come to the right of your screen. Mullins throwing the ball with pressure. And I don't think he was in a bad spot there, but he continued to grab and pull jerseys. And when an official sees the separation on that jersey, it's like they've got an automatic trigger to that flag in their back pocket.
Ito Smith tackled by Adrian Middleton after a gain of a yard. 2nd and 9. Clock will continue to run.
And you're anticipating that this Kentucky defense is thinking about the run. They understand the situation they're in right now. One thing that I would be cautious of if I were on the field, we've seen today Mullins with a few designed quarterback runs. It's really caught this team off guard. Now's the time when Dawson calls those types of plays.
2 tight ends. On the ground, Ito Smith tackled by Walker. He's at the 15-yard line. The ball is spotted right at that first down marker. And Southern Miss moves the chains.
Now you're starting to wonder with the way that they are methodically milking this clock. Does Kentucky even get another possession? And it seems like what's coming from the Golden Eagles sideline is they're going to run this down as much as they can, and they understand what's going on. Shannon Dawson, we saw a smile out of him earlier, but I'm sure he's feeling some sense of satisfaction right now.
Once more to Smith. Dives across the 15 for a short gain. He's closing in on 170 yards. Clock continues to run. We come up on 3 minutes to play. Second and 9. If Kentucky gets a stop here, then do you call a timeout on 3rd down?
I think you've got to try.
Jones in motion. Mullins will take it himself up the middle. And he's to the 12-yard line. 3rd down coming up. And Kentucky has used its second timeout to stop the clock with 2:33.
And if they convert here, the game's all but over.
One timeout left for Kentucky. 3rd and 7. Do you stick with the ground game?
Of course you do. Force them to use that timeout.
Ito Smith spinning inside the 10. 3 yards shy of the first down, so 4th down coming up. Kentucky has used its final timeout. And now a field goal attempt for Southern Miss. Schoenfield attempting a field goal from 25. He's already hit from 45 or 49. Kick is up and good. 34 unanswered by Southern Miss. And they've got a 2-score lead as the Golden Eagles are 2.5 minutes away from snapping a 13-game losing streak against the SEC. I'll tell you what, there's probably a few Kentucky fans out there thinking, where was this offense last year?
I'm sure there are, you know, but I think a lot of it has to do with the talent they have on that side of the ball. Ito Smith and Mullins could be playing on Sundays when it's all said and done.
And you've got a quarterback who might get a good look as well in Nick Mullins. J.D. Harmon breaks a tackle, looking for some space. He's got the 30, sideline 35, out of bounds, just shy of the 40. Lamont in the first half, Kentucky made it work with the big plays, and they need a big play here to have any shot.
And they had success in their quick passing game, getting it out to the edges. Let's see if they go back to that.
Safety's back, 3-man rush. Barker steps up, he's hit, and down he goes. The ball comes out. Southern Miss says they have it. And they do. Dylan Bradley recovered the fumble, and that could be the end game for the Wildcats. Paw. Xavier Thigpen got the sack. He started it all with a block punt in the first quarter.
This defense, it came out with different intensity in the second half. It's almost like they inserted new players in these jerseys, and the big fella there. Amazing talent. As this Southern Miss team looks like they may pull off the upset here. And if so, this would be the 4th SEC team to lose today.
It's been a roller coaster ride for Southern Miss. 12 wins in Larry Fedora's final season. Then they go winless. It took Todd Monken a few years to get that program going. They win 9 last year, bring in a new coach. Jay Hopson delivers Southern Miss's first win against the SEC since 2000. The Golden Eagles trailed 35-10. They closed the game with 34 unanswered and a double-digit win on the road against Kentucky.